The chain link changed the next day's plan before anyone said so. It also changed the air between them. The slab had accepted Kai's intent, and for less than a minute that had felt like progress with a shape he could understand. The chain link made progress feel watched. It turned the memory of tired builders into something Vale's people had stepped over with clean shoes and quiet tools. Kai knew it when he woke and saw 3 messages already waiting in the group chat. Mina had sent a photograph of the pressed pattern enlarged until it became a field of small repeating hooks. Ryan had sent a blurry picture of the school entrance with the caption "Plain jacket again maybe." Han had sent only 4 words. Kai lay in bed and read the messages twice before answering. His body felt hollow from the night before, not injured but overdrawn. The slab's pulse had followed him into sleep. In one dream, rain fell upward from the grass into the sky while unseen hands tied rope around stones. In another, a white card slid under his door again and again until the floor disappeared beneath paper. Tea shop before school. Lena had not slept. That was Kai's first thought when he entered the back room. Her hair was tied too tightly, and there was a cup of untouched tea near her elbow. The chain link rested on a white cloth in the center of the table. She had arranged the room like a place for evidence, not breakfast. The windows were covered. The kettle was off. Mina stood with her bag still on her shoulder, eyes fixed on the link as if memorizing it might make it less dangerous. Ryan looked like he wanted to touch it and had decided, through heroic effort, not to be himself. "It is paper," she said. "Treated, layered, and reinforced with something I cannot identify. It holds a trace of resonance but not enough to act alone." Mina leaned closer, careful not to touch it. "A signal tag?" "Possibly." Ryan crossed his arms. "In normal words." Han answered. "It may tell someone when the stones respond. It may also tell them who was standing near it." Kai's stomach tightened. "Then they know." "They know someone made contact," Han said. "They may not know how much." Kai held on to the may. It was a weak word, but it left room to breathe. Maybe Vale's people knew only that the ruins had answered. Maybe they did not know about the intent, the memory, the 12%. Maybe they had expected a reckless flare and received something quieter. Maybe quiet could still protect them for a while. That distinction did not comfort him, but it kept the room from collapsing into panic. Mina opened her notebook to the North River development page. If Vale's group uses shell names, this company might be closer to the real structure. I found references to an old service road north of the ruins. It used to connect survey crews to the waterworks. "Shadows on the road," Ryan murmured. Mina looked at him. "What?" "It sounded dramatic in my head. Unfortunately, it may also be accurate." She turned the notebook around. "The road runs past 3 properties North River tried to buy. If there are cameras, storage sites, or people watching the ruins, they may be using that route." Kai expected Han to forbid it. Part of him wanted Han to forbid it. A clean no would have been easier than another choice. That was becoming an uncomfortable pattern. Kai wanted to be trusted until trust required him to choose. Then he wanted an adult to close the road for him and call it wisdom. He could feel both desires at once, and neither made him proud. Instead, Han studied the map. "You do not go there after dark. You do not enter private property. You look from public ground, document what is visible, and leave the moment anything feels arranged for you." Ryan pointed at Kai. "Hear that? Leave. Moment. Anything." "I heard." Saying it back helps. Kai sighed. "We leave the moment anything feels arranged for us." "Beautiful." They went after school, when the streets were busy enough to hide 3 students with backpacks and not busy enough to hide a tail. The old service road began behind a row of repair shops and followed the drainage channel north. It was cracked, narrow, and lined with weeds that had forced their way through the asphalt. The road felt forgotten in the official way cities forgot inconvenient places. Old signs still named departments that had been reorganized twice. A rusted barrier leaned at one corner, locked open so long the weeds had grown around its base. Water moved somewhere below them, hidden behind concrete and iron grates, carrying the smell of mud through the damp air. Mina had them stop at the first public notice board, where layers of paper had been stapled over one another until the corners curled like bark. Most were useless: drainage work completed last year, a missing dog, a warning about dumping trash. Beneath one torn notice, she found the edge of a North River logo. She photographed it from 3 angles while Ryan blocked the wind with his body and tried to look like someone who naturally stood in front of notice boards for fun. For the first 10 minutes, nothing happened. Nothing took work. Kai had to keep reminding himself that nothing was information, not permission. Mina photographed a survey marker with half its numbers scraped away. Ryan pretended to complain about how slowly they were walking while checking the reflection in each shop window they passed. Kai kept his hands loose and his breathing soft, letting veiled flame rise and fall instead of clamping it tight. That was its own kind of pressure. A dramatic ambush would have made the danger honest. This was worse: a road with puddles, repair shops, delivery carts, and one van that might be a coincidence until it passed twice. If this story has you listening this far, subscribe to Azure Inkblade so the next chapter finds you instead of getting buried. It helps us keep making more of these every week. Now, back to the chapter. Kai understood then why Vale liked ordinary places. Ordinary settings made fear look foolish until fear was already too late. Mina photographed signs, gate numbers, faded survey markers. Ryan watched reflections in shop windows because Lena had told him people often forgot glass worked both ways. Kai kept veiled flame wrapped around the ember and tried to feel the difference between fear and instinct. Near the second bend, he felt it. Not resonance. Attention. He stopped beside a rusted guardrail. Mina stopped because he did. Ryan kept walking 3 steps, then turned as if annoyed, making the pause look like an argument. They had practiced that at lunch with embarrassing seriousness. If Kai stopped, Mina stopped as if correcting him. Ryan overshot, turned, and complained. Anyone watching would see 3 students disagreeing about directions, not a group reacting to a signal. The practice had felt silly in the cafeteria. On the service road, it felt like a thin wall between them and the van. Mina used the staged argument to point behind Kai with her chin. "Storefront," she murmured, as if correcting his direction. Kai looked at the dark glass beside them and saw the van's shape held in the reflection, too far back for a casual stop, too steady for someone looking for parking. Ryan said, louder, "Fine, we go your way," and made irritation cover the decision to leave. "What?" Ryan asked. Kai did not look toward the source. "White van. Half a block back. It passed us twice." Mina adjusted her glasses and used the motion to glance at a dark storefront window. "I see it." "Leaving?" Ryan asked. Kai looked at the road ahead. A chain-link gate stood open where the map showed an old municipal access point. Beyond it, fresh tire tracks cut through the mud. It felt arranged. That feeling had texture now. Not magic. Not resonance. Arrangement lived in angles and absences: the open gate where an old map said locked access, the fresh tire tracks after days of rain, the van behind them keeping just enough distance to deny intent. Kai trusted the feeling because it did not make him want to rush forward. It made him want to leave. The old Kai might have gone closer because the answer was right there. The frightened Kai might have run. The version of him Han was trying to train did neither. "We leave," Kai said. Ryan's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Mina took one last photo without raising her phone too high. Then they crossed at the next light, entered a crowded market street, and changed direction twice before heading back toward the tea shop. The white van did not follow them all the way. They still took 3 turns they did not need, paused inside a crowded pharmacy, and left through a side exit after Mina bought cough drops no one wanted. Ryan made a joke about building an entire defense strategy around unwanted snacks. Nobody laughed much. The city kept offering places to hide, but every shelter felt temporary. On the walk back, Kai noticed how often the drainage channel vanished and returned. It slipped beneath roads, behind fences, under metal grates patched with newer bolts. North River did not need to own the whole district to move through it. They only needed access to the forgotten parts everyone stepped over. That realization made the map in his memory rearrange itself into routes and blind spots. That did not mean it had lost them. At the shop, Mina spread the photos across the table. Fresh tire marks. A new padlock on an old gate. A paper notice from North River Development dated only 2 weeks earlier. None of it proved a crime. All of it proved motion. She arranged the images in order of the walk, then added the old map beside them. The story became clearer when laid flat. North River had touched the edge of the service road, then the gate, then the parcels behind it. Each piece alone could be explained away. Together, they made a path. Lena wrote times beneath each photograph. Han wrote what could be seen without interpretation. Mina wrote what the pattern suggested and underlined suggested twice, a discipline against jumping ahead. Ryan watched them build the record and finally said, "This is slower than punching something." Han did not look up. "It also leaves fewer bruises for your enemies to photograph." Ryan accepted that with a grimace. Mina added a separate page titled "What We Can Prove." It had only 4 lines by the time she finished, and none of them said Vale did anything illegal. Kai stared at the short list and felt frustration heat his chest. Then he looked at the photographs again. 4 lines were not enough to win. They were enough to begin. Beginning, Kai was learning, could be painfully small and still matter, especially when everyone agreed to keep building. Han tapped the notice. "They are preparing access." "For the alignment?" Kai asked. "For something sooner." The system appeared, quiet and unwelcome. External interference probability increased. Stage 3 path stabilized, 12%. Recommended next action, gather evidence, strengthen concealment, avoid forced contact. Kai read the lines twice. Avoid forced contact. It sounded simple. It would not be. Mina gathered her photos into a folder. "Then we build a record. If they move, we need to know where and how." Ryan cracked his knuckles, caught Lena's stare, and lowered his hands. "And if they come at us first, we leave." "First," Lena said. "Right. First." Kai looked at the map, the road, the gate, the printed name pretending to be ordinary business. The shadows were no longer only around the ruins. They were on roads people used every day, behind legal notices and parked vans and polite voices. That made them harder to fight. It also made them real enough to track.